99X. It's the Morning X. Barnes, Leslie, Fram, where'd you used to go for spring break back in the day?
Well, because I lived near Gulf Shores, Alabama, I would always kind of stick around there in that whole area. I was only 30 minutes away from it.
We would go to Corpus Christi. You know, we were in Corpus Christi a lot, but we would go down South Padre Island, and
Right.
hotels are kind of dingy. Then later in life, we start going to cool places, like, you know, go down to Florida. A lot of people go to Miami. Some people try to go to the Caribbean if it's close enough and you can get back and not crazy expensive.
I never understood why people would want to do spring break in Atlanta. Sorry.
Yeah, truth. Yeah, the staycation, not as fun.
Yeah.
But there is something going around, and it's becoming pretty rampant, that you should know about. And we've got an expert we're going to talk to right now. His name is Jim Stickley, and Jim is a professional in all regards. He has hacked Social Security numbers. He has robbed banks. He has created fake ATMs. He's broken into armed government facilities. He has stolen from people all over the world. But The thing is, he's no criminal. He gets paid for it. So he is a true pro that is hired by corporations to stage these events for training purposes, to learn how it's done, and also to protect people from all of this. And Jim joins us now. Hey, Jim.
Hey, that was a pretty interesting introduction there. Wow.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to cover
Jim
it all.
has robbed banks, and no.
I know. This is fascinating.
My mom's going to be so proud.
So proud.
How do you become a cybersecurity expert?
By accident, truly. As a kid, I was pretty, I was, just trying to figure things out, and I got pretty into hacking pretty young. And back in the day, there wasn't a lot of hackers in the early 90s, and so I just turned out I kind of had a knack for it. And companies started paying me to hack into things. They're like, "Oh, could you test our security?" And I was like, "All right." And then they'd pay me to hack into something. I'm like, "This is dumb, but sure." And then that would lead to some other company. They'd say, "Can you hack us? Can you hack it?" And then after a while, it just suddenly realized this is a career. And then, after a while, they started having me also physically go and rob them and just steal whatever they wanted me to steal. And I was like, I guess. And so, yeah, it wasn't a planned career by any means, but it just turned out to be a one heck of a good time.
So you've never been to jail?
No, knock on wood.
The reason I say that is the only other person like you that I know has been to jail and got the Hollywood treatment. And that's Frank Abagnale. Catch me if you can.
Yeah, he's definitely got a lot more fame than I do. That's for sure.
You guys are, it's similar. But the whole point of this conversation is people need to be aware of what this spring break.
Right now, it's the hidden cameras, the spy cams when you're heading out to the Verbos. Yeah.
Really?
This is everywhere now. What are the people, let's start back fresh. What should people look out for when they're checking into even a hotel, I hear, not just a Verbo?
Good question.
Well, it's so difficult now. It's so, hidden cameras have gotten small. We're talking dime-sized or smaller, crazy, incredibly small. Even the ones that have Wi-Fi enabled are super, super tiny. And I think people still have this idea in their head that, I'd be able to spot a camera. A camera's going to be big, it's going to be clunky, it's going to be this thing that you've seen in movies a million times where they're just, stupid sized. And that's the problem, is they're super small. So you have to start really looking for that. When people say pinhole sized cameras, that's what they're talking about. The lens size is like a pinhole. So you've got to find those in common items and in common areas. And it's really difficult.
Is there a device that you could use when you go into the room that kind of sweeps the room, kind of like a metal detector?
Good
sure.
question.
There's a couple they sell on Amazon. So we pulled that out of the segment that we shot recently because they're pretty terrible. They have it's almost like being a psychic, where it kind of gets it right sometimes, but it gets it wrong just as many. So there's one that tries to pick up signals in a room, so it picks up RF signals. Problem is, everything puts off RF signals now. So pretty soon you're like, oh my God, there's cameras literally every 5 feet around this room. And so that doesn't work. And then there's another one you can look through. It's Spy Finder. It's got a little circle and you kind of look through it. And that one does work. If you actually look through it just right and there's a lens and you go across, it will reflect this little red kind of glow back. The problem is you have to hit it just right. And so generally, if you're on top of the lens and you do it, you're going to find it. But you have to have already pretty much found it to find it with one of these things.
So I saw you on the Today Show a couple of weeks ago, and you had a staged house with cameras, and I think you had a mom and her daughter. I mean, these people knew this was happening. Like, they were told, you're going to come in here, you're going to find these cameras, and they only found, what, like half of them?
Yeah, and even the ones they found, they went from room to room. They started out where the first room they did, they found almost nothing. And then I think they started getting like uncomfortable. They weren't finding them. So then they just started pointing at everything. Well, maybe that's a camera. And so they got some right. But when we were talking to them, we're like, okay, did you really see anything afterwards? And they're like, well, no, but I just assumed maybe that could be one. So I think the reality was they found far less than they found. But it was just, again, they were told they're in here, find something. So like, oh, smoke detector. There's probably one in that. It's a smoke detector.
I think there's an emotional barrier that some people also aren't going to get over, because you take that excitement of arriving at a place like that on vacation. Your partying is on your mind, or relaxing is on your mind. You're not thinking about doing an inspection.
No, I mean, no. Why would you? I mean, you walk into these homes, and they're oftentimes beautiful homes, and there's like to your point, I'm on vacation. I'm here to have a good time. I'm with my friends, my wife, whoever. You're not thinking I'm on camera.
We're talking to Jim Stickley, a cyber expert and security on spring break. I was looking at your website, stickleyonsecurity.com. You offer a lot of free webinars, which is fantastic. Is there anything that people could look at now on your website to really help them, before they go on vacation or spring break?
I mean, sadly, I'm going to direct them away. They'd be better off going over to YouTube, and they could type in Jim Stickley there. There's a ton of segments that I've done that talk on numerous things, not just cameras, but everything to protect yourself. There's a lot of good information out there.
So beneficial to do that. Do what he said. Just go type it into YouTube, because it will alert you at least to have top of mind awareness when you're checking into these places. But what is happening, Jim, with these videos? What are you seeing the result of people being taped? What's happening with that footage?
So there's a few things. One, they can be sold on the dark web because there's creepers out there that want to have these voyeuristic videos. And so there's that side of it. And then there's also the extortion side. There was a story that came out where a guy was cheating on his wife, went to one of these places. It was recorded by, I guess, the owner. And then the owner was trying to extort him for money, threatening to tell his wife. And obviously he must have, because it became primetime news. So obviously everybody knows what happened now. But yeah, I mean, if there's a way for somebody to make money, or just for creepers to be creepers, they do it.
So how does this happen? You said even on airplane bathrooms.
What?
So somebody just going in there and sticking a little camera in the bathroom?
Oh, it happened. This was horrific. So there was a flight attendant, and he put a camera in the bathroom, and it was in the first class bathroom. You can read this online. And then he was escorting children from the back of the plane up to the bathroom.
No.
And one of the kids saw the camera, told his dad, and they were able to arrest this guy. But that's how creepy this stuff is.
Unbelievable.
Wow. And that, with all the tape, I'm sure porn sites are getting, because a lot of people, I guess, are putting them in those picture frames right at bed level in these VRBOs or Airbnbs, whatever. And then they're taking that footage and just uploading it to some porn site.
Yeah, and that's those dark web, because if it's a legitimate porn site, supposedly they won't do that.
A legitimate porn site. That's a funny one.
Yeah. I was just going to put quotes around that. I don't think you can see the air quotes I'm doing. Yeah, exactly. But the big name brand ones, if you will. But there's a ton out there, of course, that would take all of that stuff and be happy to air it. And to your point, like when we were setting up these cameras, the angles and the shots, we put a smoke detector over the bed. I mean, like literally, you're just looking at the whole bed. We had another one that was in the bathroom that was set up, that it was on the wall. You could watch the entire shower. You could watch everything. And it was just going into it, I didn't realize how incredibly clear the image would be and how simple it was. And for this one, I didn't even put a lot of effort. I literally jumped on Amazon and bought the cheapest cameras they sold that was in a clock or in a smoke detector or whatever. And so we spent a few $100 and we had 15 cameras that were just all over this house. Damn. And you have them in a couple days.
Jim, do you have a family?
I do.
Barnes, can you imagine how much fun it would be going on vacation with Jim?
Oh, dude.
I mean, you're going into the room and there's the whole stakeout.
We would geek out. Like, I'm so into all this. That's the first thing I do when do you think there's a distinguishable level where you would find this type of behavior, or is it only the like lower end, the cheap, too good to be true places, or are they in like elite places?
Yeah, I think this is doesn't matter because you think about like, let's say that you're at a high-end hotel. You have no idea who one of the cleaning staff is.
Oh,
who could
right.
come in there, put cameras in, and the next day come and collect their cameras. No one's going to know the difference. I mean, it could be literally anywhere, high-end, low-end. I think that that's almost a misnomer, like where you're going to trick yourself into going, well, I'm at the high end, so of course this can't happen here.
Yeah, you need your own docuseries.
You do.
Well, do you remember when Erin Andrews was caught on film? And that was it. That guy literally filmed her through the peephole. But she's in a beautiful, nice hotel. There's no way that's going to go through your head. So it just can show you it can happen to anybody, anywhere.
It's a perfect storm of the whole thing of being excited to be on vacation, not really paying attention. And then once you get in and start going, it's too late. So yeah, take a minute and try to evaluate the scene and look for his videos on YouTube. Just search Jim Stickley, Stickley, and you can find out he's done some great segments that will at least keep it top of mind as you head out for spring break. Jim, thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thanks, Jim.